السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبعد. So today we'll continue inshallah with the 49th hadith. Today is the 9th hadith. Just before we start, I wanted to say two quick things. First of all, I would like that we reduce the number of questions or interruptions inside the majlis. If I'm saying something that you don't understand, yes, please tell me what you're saying is not clear. But if you want to ask something, please postpone it to the end. This is the first thing. The second thing, because actually, when there is a lot of questions and side talks and, get distracted, sometimes I forget what I wanted to say. So, for example, the last hadith I wanted to mention something that was important, but I forgot about it. It was not related to the hadith itself or what is, the lessons learned from the hadith, but it was, the last hadith was critical. Actually, it was very important. And then when I was checking it, not last time, before that, I saw the translation for that hadith, and I found that the translation is not accurate. So this is what I'm finding now, that there is a lot of the translations for the books are not accurate, or sometimes even translated wrong. Sometimes because the person who is translating doesn't understand the Arabic or doesn't know English well. Either ways. So the last hadith, remember when I said, "Umirtu an uqatil an-nas," I was ordered to fight people. So one of those who translated this hadith translated it to, I was ordered to kill people, which is a totally different meaning. In Arabic, قتل يقتل is to kill. قاتل is to fight. So those are different words, or they have the same root, but they have different meanings. So this is a problem with the translations. So that's why you need to take care with the translation, brothers. So unfortunately, there is no substitute to understanding Arabic. As much as you can, because as I'm telling you, the translations have their own problems, which I believe were done with good intention. No one intended to make it, to change it, but sometimes it just, even when translation you don't actually get or understand the Arabic well, so you translate to a different meaning. I actually faced one in one of the texts we're going to mention today. When it was, I had this translation for the abridgment of Jamal al-Hikam, and in the translation, the meaning was lost. It was totally different meaning. So that's the other point. I want to say that sometimes when we get distracted, I forget what I wanted to say. The third thing, also, with those side talks or side, when we get, dragged to the right and left, we take a long time. And then some of our brothers, I could see them, they want to sleep, they want to leave, and we're taking a lot of time. So let's finish, and then if someone has a question, I will be here. Okay, so let's start with the 9th hadith now. عن أبي هريرة عبد الرحمن بن صخر رضي الله عنه قال: سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: ما نهيتكم عنه فاجتنبوه وما أمرتكم به فأتوا منه ما استطعتم فإنما أهلك الذين من قبلكم كثرة مسائلهم واختلافهم على أنبيائهم. رواه البخاري ومسلم. So on the authority of Abu Hurairah, Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhr radiallahu anhu, that he heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam say, avoid whatever I forbid you to do, and whatever I command you to do, do it to the best of your capacity. Verily, the people before you were destroyed only because of their excessive questioning and their disagreement with their prophets. and this is narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. So this is an authentic hadith, which is, as mentioned, narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. This specific narration that you mentioned now is narrated by Imam Muslim. So there are several narrations for this hadith. You know, when you get part of it said first, and then, you know, the arrangement is a little bit different. So this narration is the narration by Imam Muslim. Imam Muslim and Imam Bukhari both agreed on another narration, which is actually just different arrangement, which saying that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Leave me or don't ask me as long as I don't direct you. Those who were before you were destroyed by their excessive questioning and their disagreement with their prophets. So avoid whatever I forbid you, and if I forbid you and if I order you to do something, do from it as much as I can." So it's the same hadith, just an arrangement, you know, from the narrators. So, but at the end, it's narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. So the narrator on this hadith is related on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhr. And there's a lot of argument or dispute about his name, his actual name. We know him as Abu Hurairah. He's very famous with that. It was his kunya. But what is his name? Maybe there are 20, you know, different names assigned to him. But the most correct one is Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhr. This is what Imam Nawawi chose. That Abu Hurairah, Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhr. He's from Daws, and he embraced Islam at the 7th year of Hijrah at the time of Battle of Khaybar. And he witnessed the battle and joined the Prophet ﷺ in this battle. Then he stuck to the Prophet ﷺ. He was just kept beside him for the rest of the Prophet ﷺ life. And he would just, you know, stick to him, accompany him, without even finding enough food. He sometimes would just, you know, fall to the ground out of hunger. He can't find anything to eat. He was totally poor. And then, but this paid back. Why? Because at the time of that, other Sahabas, you know, used to go to their work and then attend with the Prophet ﷺ day after day or so. He was with the Prophet ﷺ all the time. So he remembered and memorized from the hadith what others didn't memorize. So he was the most person from the companions who was the most companion with narrations. The biggest number of the narrations is by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, to the extent that he reported 5,374 hadith. Remember that before we were mentioning 1,500 hadith, 3,000 hadith. No, Abu Hurairah 5,000 and more. Yeah, 574. And the Prophet ﷺ acknowledged how keen he was about the knowledge and hadith. And even his memorization was a miracle from the Prophet ﷺ. When the Prophet ﷺ told them, who has like a piece of cloth and who would, you know, just lay it out and who would never forget what I tell him or what he hears from me. So Abu Hurairah told him yes. So Abu Hurairah put this cloth, and then the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him about the hadith, some hadith, and then him, okay, fold it back. From now on, you're not going to forget what you heard from me. And we can see it. This huge number of hadith by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. He died on the year of 57 in Medina, and Imam Dhahabi rahimahullah described him as the faqih, mujtahid, hafiz, imam, the companion of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Hurairah ad-Dawsi from Daws, this tribe from Yemen. And he was this is the word of Imam Dhahabi, the master or the greatest of the trustworthy hafiz. Okay, هو إمام الحفاظ, إمام الحفاظ المتقنين رحمه الله تعالى. So when the Prophet ﷺ said, avoid whatever I forbid you to do, so what is forbidden in the Quran and Sunnah is for prohibition, is for haram, it's unless there is another evidence from Quran or Sunnah that makes this forbidding only a disliked matter. That is something recommended not to do, but not haram. But other than that, unless there is a clear evidence for that, then whatever Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbids or what is forbidden in the Quran is for tahrim, unless noted otherwise. Okay. And to avoid what is muharram, you need to avoid all of it. Meaning to say, if you are ordered to avoid zina wal-'iyadhu billah, adultery, you can say, okay, I'm avoiding adultery with this person, but not that person. No, you're not avoiding it. You have to avoid it totally. Okay? Yeah, but what I'm saying totally, it's not, like, if I'm telling you, be good to your parents, okay? When I'm telling you be good to your parents, every single deed will fulfill that. So basically, if you help them financially, you're good to them. If you treat them well, you're good to them. If you buy them some luxuries, you're good with them, right? But when I tell you, it's prohibited to be bad with your parents or never tell them a bad word. You can say, oh, okay, I'm not telling them this word, but I'm telling them, okay, just shut up. No, you have to, to avoid all the bad things. Okay, while when you're asked to do something good, one or two would suffice, right? So avoiding the prohibited, the muharram, is important, more important and better than doing the recommended acts. So if you're now, when people go and, do a lot of good deeds, and then they say, yeah, I'm doing some muharram things, but I'm doing a lot of good deeds. No, it's better that you don't do those good deeds as long as they're not mandatory, and avoid the muharram. That's why Aisha radiallahu anha said, anyone who wants to outdo those most earnest in efforts to be good, stay away from all sins. If you want to be the best one, stay away from sins. And Al-Hasan rahimahullah said, no worshipper has performed any act of worship superior to staying away from what Allah has prohibited him. This is one of the best acts of worship, to avoid what is muharram, what's prohibited. And Umar ibn Abdul Aziz rahimahullah ta'ala said, piety, at-taqwa, is not standing the night in prayer and fasting the day, then doing sins in between. Rather, piety is fulfilling all that Allah has made obligatory and avoiding all that He has prohibited. If there are additional deeds, additional good deeds, you're making extra sadaqah, you're making extra salah, you're making extra siyam, this constitutes good over good. This is additional. This is good to have. But piety is to do the mandatory and avoid the prohibited. That being said, it's not permissible to do any of the prohibited things of the muharram except in the case of necessity, when there is a darura. When there is a darura, there is no muharram. The muharram gets, you're not assigned with this tahrim now. In Surah Al-An'am, فَكُلُوا مِمَّا ذُكِرَ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ إِن كُنتُم بِآيَاتِهِ مُؤْمِنِينَ وَمَا لَكُمْ أَلَّا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا ذُكِرَ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَقَدْ فَصَّلَ لَكُمْ مَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِلَّا مَا اضْطُرِرْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ. So, Surah Al-An'am, so eat of what over which the name of Allah has been mentioned, if you indeed believe in His ayat, in His signs. And why shouldn't you eat of that which the name of Allah has been mentioned, when He has detailed for you what He has prohibited for you, except to which you are compelled. When you are compelled, then there is darura, then there is no tahrim.
Surah
Al-An'am. I'm not writing it. I didn't write.
Oh, okay.
But it will be at the end. Okay, so what is necessity? When we say darura, what is necessity? Necessity is what makes a person in danger of losing his life, or an organ, or an increased illness, or similar matters that makes life unbearable or the life requirements unachievable. Like, and it's mentioned actually in Quran, if you're in famine and there is nothing to eat except dead dogs. Dead dogs are haram, right? But to keep alive, just eat what would keep you alive. Other than that, you're going to die. No, you're not asked to die. Okay? Similarly, if you are in a place and then, it happened a long time ago that a person was trapped in somewhere, and then to survive, he just drank his own urine for maybe 20 days or something like that, just to keep alive. He was drinking his own urine, urinating again, drinking it again, just to keep alive. Yeah, he's just preserving his life. He's not, enjoying it. It's not. But this happened, at some point. Then this is your life at threat, or another thing. You're not allowed, for example, to chop off your hand, right? But some people might get sick with those illness that would eat his whole body unless he chops off his hand or his leg or whatever. Then it's chopped. Why? Because now his life is in danger. Okay, so this is a necessity. So, as we said, when...
sorry, just a question about the word, you said muharram,
yeah.
Right? Does it mean like impermissible?
Muharram, yeah, prohibited or impermissible. Okay? So, when there is a necessity, this prohibition is waived, but for a necessity to waive this prohibition, it needs to be. There is conditions for something to be considered a necessity, that we will do the muharram because of because of this necessity. First thing, to be existing or expected to happen soon, either certainly or most probably. Something like, as I said, someone got stranded in the desert and he couldn't find anything except a dead bird, and now he's either eat or die. This is something now, it's existing. Or, yes, he ate in the morning, but he's still walking in the desert and he doesn't know till when. So he would just pick it up now with him. It's a dead bird. Normally it's haram to eat. But he will pick it for now because he's expecting that he will not find any food soon. Okay? Another thing, to be exclusively resolved by doing this prohibited action. Meaning to say that there is no other way for it. No other way to do this. As I told you, the guy that was trapped, under some demolished building or whatever, under the ground. Then there is nothing else to drink except his urine, for example, right? Then he would just drink it because there is no other way. Okay? The third thing is that the extent of the permission is determined by the magnitude and time of this necessity. Meaning to say, again, if someone gets in a famine and is eating and he finds a dead donkey, for example, or a dead horse or a dead dog or whatever, he's going to eat what keeps him alive. He's not going to make a barbecue party out of it. Okay, he's not going to grill and make, and start making sandwiches and put, sauces and stuff. No, you're not enjoying it. It's just to keep you alive. Okay? The third thing, not to cause a bigger damage. Like if someone will die out of thirst and then he finds poison. So he's drinking the poison, to avoid thirst, but it will kill him. So it's the same thing, right? So, actually...
But I have a question. If you know there's a poison in it, that means you don't need to get out.
No, if you know that's a poison, you're not going to eat it. If I'm telling you, Rabbana afina, someone is trying to survive and just finds poison, okay? And if he drinks it, not poison, let me see. This sulfuric acid or something?
Poison.
No.
It's poison as well.
Yeah, or poison or acid or something. And then he finds this acid and his totally thirsty, but if he drinks this acid, it will burn him from the inside. It will kill him. Then tell him, no, you don't do that. You don't, quench your thirst by drinking what will destroy you from inside. It will kill you also, but from the inside, instead of being killed by thirst. Anyways, there are 3 types of necessities. Okay? The first one that must be addressed. Like the example we said, to eat from the dead animal to survive. And then there are other necessities that would give you only a permission to do. You don't have to do, but if you do, it's okay. Like when someone being coerced to say the disbelief or kalimat al-kufr wal-'iyadhu billah under a gun or something. Now he's being forced to do it. Okay? Then we're not telling him you must say it. No. If you want to say it, you can. It's just a permission. Okay? Then there are necessities that are not considered a valid cause or a valid excuse to do the muharram. Like what? Example: 2 people got lost in the desert, and then one of them feels that he's going to die of hunger. Right? He cannot kill the other guy to eat him. Right? Now he's losing his life, and there is nothing else to eat except this other guy. He's not going to tell him, okay, kill him and eat him, or just cut his hand and eat it. No, right? So this kind of necessity is not an excuse to do the muharram.
Sorry, I didn't understand the second one.
Okay, so there are necessities that you are asked to do, like when you're going to lose your life, except if you eat from this najasa or eat from this muharram, or you got choked and then there is nothing to drink but
I
alcohol.
meant the second one.
Okay, so this is the first case. You have to do it because it will save your life. Second type is that when you are it only gives you permission if you want to do it. If not, no, you don't have to do it. Like when you get forced to saying the word of disbelief. Because why? Because it's either you can take this permission and avoid being killed, or get killed like as a martyr, right? So it's a win-win situation. Either way, you're winning, right? So it's only a permission for you to do it. If you want to do it, you can, but you don't have to do it. But preserving your life, you have to preserve your life.
So the difference is that, like in the second one, if I choose not to, then it's not a sin.
No, it's not a sin. The first case,
is a sin.
Because the first case for the first case, if you don't preserve your life, you're losing it in vain.
Yeah.
But in the second case, yes, you might lose your life, but it will not go in vain.
So in the first case, it's actually a sin to not eat from this.
Yes. Allah.
In the first case, you have no choice. Second case, you have a choice.
Or,
right? Is that what would you say?
no, the first case, if you lose your life, you're losing it in vain. You just lost it because you didn't want to eat from this. Okay, there is nothing. But in the second case, like being forced to say the word of disbelief, wal-'iyadhu billah, no, if you don't say it and you get killed, there is still winning here. There is still, you are killed and you're a martyr, right? And other thing, you're still dead. What you call, when you didn't go without any.
I mean, so you died for a value.
Yeah, for a value, something like
for sake of Islam,
for sake of Islam. You prove the point.
So the example that you used, was this the 2 people in the desert? Is that
No, this is the third one. The third one when it's not when the necessity doesn't constitute an excuse to do the muharram. You cannot eat another person to keep alive.
Okay, and can you give an example for the one you just mentioned about dying?
Okay. Again. First one, someone got stranded in the desert, got lost in the desert, or in the forest, or whatever,
Has to drink his urine.
and then he has to drink his urine or to eat something that's dead. Otherwise, he's going to die.
Yeah.
So this is permissible, and this actually you're asked to do this to preserve your life.
Oh, that's the first.
Otherwise, you're losing your life in vain, right? There's no reason for you to lose your life. The second thing, you're being forced to say something like wal'adhu billah, insult Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or something like that. Then you have, and if it's an actual coercion, it's actually, like a gun in your head, to your head, then you can, this is just a permission. If you want to say it to get out of this situation, it's permitted. But you don't have to. Okay? The third.
You don't do it intentionally. Where you
No,
So you say one thing with your tongue, but you have something else in your heart.
Yeah.
Okay.
The third thing is that necessity.
You're in a bad situation.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Then the necessity that are not considered an excuse to do to do the muharram, is, as I'm telling you, is that you're taking another person, right? You're just, you're cutting someone's finger to eat it to live. No, it's not. You can't do that. Okay. Similarly, there is no necessity in the beliefs. You cannot have this belief in your heart and say it's a necessity. No, there's no coercion on your heart. You can say it by tongue, yes, but not with heart, right? إلا من أكره وقلبه مطمئن بالإيمان. Okay, so this is what we call necessity. Okay, necessity is going to affect your life, is going to affect your well-being. It would put your life to a threat, or it put you to a direct threat or harm. Okay, so there's another thing that is what we call a need, haja, which is actually less than that. Like what? Which something that if you don't have would make your life hard, but not impossible. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, just to know, first I have to tell you that prohibited things are actually categorized into two categories. The first thing, things that are muharram because they are bad in themselves. Like what? Like zina wal-'adhu billah. Right? Zina in itself is bad. Okay? Eating pork in itself is bad. Okay? And there are other things that are prohibited because they lead to the wrong things. Like what? Like exposing your awrah. Right? Exposing your awrah is muharram, but not for itself, because it leads to something else. So when there is a haja, you can make this muharram that is muharram not for itself, but because it leads to other things. Like, imagine someone has a huge pimple in his back, so he cannot sit, in his buttocks or whatever, okay? And then he cannot sit. Then he would go to the doctor, he would, uncover his, buttock, yeah? And then the doctor would make an incision, clean this out, and then, stitch it and cover it back, right? So now he did the muharram, right? Why? But this muharram is not muharram for itself. It's not like eating pork. Normally, you cover your awrah because you don't want to get in wrong relations. But now this is not the case. Now you have a haja with something that would make your life hard. The pimple will not kill you. Yeah, you're not sitting easily. It's hard to sit. It bugs you. It's not nice. It gives it, sometimes it hurts, but it will not affect your life. You can live with it. But now this constitutes a need. So for this need, you can do something that is not prohibited for itself. Like what I said, exposing your awrah for medicine. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. This is about the prohibitions or forbidding in the Quran and Sunnah. So what about the orders of Quran and Sunnah? The orders of Quran and Sunnah are subject to the ability of the person, meaning to say. And this was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said. And if I order you to do something, do it to the extent of your capacity. Meaning to say, if someone can't pray standing, we'll tell them, okay, sit and pray, right? And if someone when you know zakat al-fitr, you know the zakat that you pay after Ramadan, zakat al-fitr, you know it? Okay, someone has only half of the amount of zakat al-fitr, only. We tell him, okay, pay the half amount only, since you don't have anything other than that. So you do as much as you can of this. But this is not always the case. Okay, some things are not considered a form of worship in parts. Like what? If someone can fast only 5 hours, okay, after that, I've seen, I remember, I think I don't know if he's still alive or dead, but there was, an imam back, this was maybe 20 years ago or something. He had this liver disease, so he had to drink always, at least every 5 or 10 minutes, at least take a sip of water. So it was Ramadan, and on the member, and he was drinking in front of everyone and telling us, I'm doing this because I'm sick. If I'm doing this, I can't, live without drinking water every 5, 10, or 15 minutes. I need to have it, otherwise I'll die. So assume if person can only fast for 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. Can he do that? No. Fasting half a day or quarter a day or 2 hours is not a form of worship. So if this is the case, if you can do this, okay, brother, don't fast. And there is another way. If you're temporarily sick or ill, you can make up for this day. If you're permanently sick and you can never make fasting, then there's another thing, by feeding a person for every day you don't fast. Okay? So what I meant to say here, that you do to the extent of your capacity, but this needs is not, not in all cases. In a lot of cases it's applicable, but in some cases it's not. And then the Sharia will guide you to the alternative. Okay?
I mean, like, we used to, like, if someone is sick and needs a medicine, like, they used to, okay, like, I keep fasting, but I just take the medicine. So
no,
it's wrong, right?
No, you can't do that. Fasting is fasting. If you need to take the medicine, you're not asked to fast.
Yeah, so not even like I mean, even if he's gonna like compensate for this day, like,
If you're going to compensate for this day, I'll tell you. Let's say someone who can just fast, he needs to take medicine every 12 hours.
okay.
Must take it every 12 hours.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he gets home. And then in summer, he can't. He can't fast for 12 hours because the day is 16 or 17 or 18 hours, right? So he needs to break his fast on those days. And then he can make up for those days in winter, when the day is less than 12 hours. So he can wake up, take the medicine, and pray Fajr, and start fasting. And then when he breaks the fast at Maghrib, it's still 11 hours, 10 hours, 8 hours. This is another thing. So there is always a way, but you cannot fast half a day. Similarly, if you can't, if someone has an expiation, like for example, he made his word and then he broke his word, or he, for example, made anything that the expiation for it is setting a slave free, okay, and he only has a share in a slave, like for example, 2 people bought 1 slave, and it's a shared property between them. Everyone has 50% in it. You cannot say, okay, I'm going to, and if it's like kafarat yameen for making this swearing, you cannot say, okay, I have the slave, I'm gonna set half my slave free, and then I'm going to feed another 5 people, and now I'm done. No. Why? Because setting part of a slave free is not a form of worship. It's either all or not. It's not like you're not asked, or it's not a form of worship to set a part of a slave free. Actually, the Sharia tries to, whenever there's a way to set them free, it will be to set them free. Okay, so you can't say, okay, I'm just going to set part of this slave free. This is not a form of worship. Okay. So this is about the forbidding and orders. So what about questions? So this hadith, along with other hadiths, forbids some forms of questions or questioning. First of all, some kinds of questions, a lot of those forms would be, to when the Prophet ﷺ was alive, like this one. When someone would go ask him about something that if he knows the answer to would cause him harm in dunya, or sadness him, or made him be a scandal. Like the person, and it's actually happened. A person, he was famous that when he goes into arguments or fights with other people, people would tell him, "You're not the son of this guy or son of another guy." Okay? So he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Who is my father?" And he told him that your father is Hudhafa. Okay? He told him the actual father. Okay? And when he went to his mother, the mother told him, "How can you ask this question? What if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allahu a'lam? What if he told you another person? We were all," she told him, "we were all in Jahiliyyah recently. You don't know what happened at that time. What if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, no, your father is another person? What would you do?" Okay? Similarly, if some of people or one person would go ask Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam if this person is in hellfire. What if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yes, you're in hellfire? What would happen? And then now he's in hellfire. There's no way out. He will go to it. Okay, because what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says is not a lie. So don't ask these questions, right?
What's the category of question? What would you title it?
Asking questions that you don't need to know or would lead to, to knowing the answer would be bad for you or can harm you. Okay? Sometimes the hypocrites, the munafiqun, used to ask Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam questions just to give him a hard time or to mock him. Like someone would lose his camel and go, "Oh Rasulullah, I can't find my camel. Where is it? You get this revelation and Jibril can tell you, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can tell you where is it. The Prophet is not here to tell you where your camel is, yeah, and things like this." Or trying, okay, can you, like when the
Prophet knew only words of all time.
yeah, but when those munafiqun go and ask him things like it, or even the people of book, the Ahlul Kitab, go and start asking him, questions just to make it hard for him, or just to give him a hard time, just to annoy him, or mock him. Similarly, when those asked Isa asked them to bring down this, this feast and the Al-Ma'idah, similarly, what is this question? Also,
I had a question about the last one you mentioned, where you shouldn't ask questions that will harm you if you have the answer. Is this are these questions like forbidden to be asked, or should be avoided? Yeah,
we're saying this. Those were forbidden, but those are specific now to the Prophet's time, alayhi salam.
Okay.
Because if you ask, am I in or even sometimes it might, some cases might happen, sometimes when a person goes, okay, who's my real dad? Your dad, don't ask it, right?
Okay.
Especially if there is something happening.
So like in a time like our modern day, if you were to ask a question to a friend, and that and you had kind of like an intuition that answer would hurt you.
Yeah, don't ask him.
You shouldn't ask it.
Yeah.
So my question about that is it haram, like muharram, like you said, or like the word, or is it just better that it's avoided?
It depends on the question. Sometimes it might be haram. It's something like sometimes it might be haram. If someone, let's say,
Exposing the sin.
no, let's say something. If someone was going to ask his wife, okay, if I die, are you going to marry? And if she tells him, maybe she's young and she would marry, and then he starts fighting with her, and then he divorces her. So he caused all this problem because of a stupid question, right? Yeah, looking for a problem, searching for a problem, yeah.
Allah hates it.
Yeah, وكثرة السؤال وإضاعة
What are those?
asking a lot and chit-chatting and losing money.
Losing money?
Yeah.
Chit-chatting?
Yeah, and then there's excessive questions.
Okay.
Okay.
And neglecting your wealth.
So the third kind of questions that were forbidden was asking for miracles or proposing miracles, as the mushrikeen, the polyth, and the people of book used to ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, people of Thamud asked for a camel, a she camel that is pregnant, to come out of a rock, and this happened, and they didn't believe, and they were tormented, right? So don't ask for things like that. Also, asking about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concealed from his slaves, like when is the judgment day, when is the hour, or what is the reality of the spirit. Those questions are useless. You're not going to know them. There is no answer for that. Similarly, asking, and this is more when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was alive, asking him about a lot of the permissible and prohibited, which might lead to additional prohibition or extra duties. In the hadith narrated by Bukhari and Muslim, that the Muslim with the greatest guilt toward other Muslims is the one who asked about something, so it became prohibited because of his question.
Can you say that one more time?
The Muslim with the greatest guilt towards other Muslims is the one who asked about something, so it became prohibited because of his question. Okay? Why? So the Prophet ﷺ didn't permit the Sahaba who were living with him in Medina to ask. No questions. I'm going to tell you from myself. I'm going to start. If there's something you need to know, I'm going to tell you. Don't ask. And give this permission to ask only to those Bedouins or nomads who used to come to Medina from time to time, or for the delegations that came from the other tribes in Islam. They come asking about Islam and so on. So, okay, I would answer your questions. But Sahaba living in Medina, no questions. I'm going to tell you. What I'm going to tell you, understand it and act upon it. Okay? In certain cases, when there was something within they're expecting to face a new situation or something, they asked the Prophet ﷺ and he would answer them. Like, they told him in one of the battles, we are facing the enemies tomorrow. And we don't have knives, to prepare food. They don't have knives to slaughter sheep or buffaloes or whatever. We don't have knives. They have only their spears, bows and arrows, big swords, Allah and what they have, but they don't have knives for this, to prepare food, to slaughter animals. Can we slaughter with the bones or canes? This was the question for Rasulullah. He told them, okay, anything that would make the blood run, okay, it's okay to slaughter with it, except for bones and nails. Except for teeth and nails.
You can't cut it out.
Yeah, no, this is not permitted to be used in slaughtering animals. Yeah, okay. And also, when the Prophet ﷺ told him that there will be unjust rulers after him, they asked him, how do you want us to deal with them? Shall we obey them? Shall we fight them? What shall we do? This was also a question that they asked. When they told him that there will be unjust rulers coming after him, they asked, okay, how do you want us to treat them? How shall we deal with them? What do you want us to do in this case? Shall we just, be patient? Shall we fight them? What shall we do? Okay. This is another topic, another big topic, okay? So some scholars consider that heating questions was only during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, since it might have led to additional prohibitions or orders or hardship. And this is not the case after the Prophet ﷺ died. However, this what they mention is not the only reason why those excessive questions were disliked. Everything that Muslims need was clarified in the Quran and Sunnah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. what benefits his slaves. So whatever included guidance and benefit for his slaves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarified it either in Quran or in Sunnah before we ask. Okay? So what should be the concern of the Muslim is to know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said and what his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and then follow and act upon this. The Muslim shall seek for and learn what the Prophet ﷺ delivered and make the required effort to understand this and know what are the meanings, what does it guide to, what does it tell you to do. Then believe in what needs to be. Sometimes it's just there are some texts in Quran and Sunnah that you only need to believe that, no physical action, right? Then you need to believe that. And then there are other things that are like order or provisions, you need to follow that too. Okay? And this is how the companions, Sahaba, wa Tabi'een, and their successors on the right path pursued the knowledge of Quran and Sunnah. Know Quran, know Sunnah, know their meanings, know what they guide to, even dig deep in this, try to get all, these meanings, not only the apparent simple meanings, and act upon that. So if the person's intention or care when he knows about the orders and forbiddings to assume things and start making up questions about things that might or might not happen, then this is forbidden, is including the forbidding or in the Hadith. It's a form of forbidden questions.
You said
if you want to ask about things, just to start making questions and assuming, things that might or might not happen.
would you say this is in the context of
If the person, when he's asking questions, but he does not asking to act, he's asking, let me give you an example. Okay, so can we use distilled water for wudu? Okay, there's a question. I'm just giving you an example. There's an example for things that you don't ask. So if we colonize Mars and we go there, and then can we collect the breath and then condensate the water vapor from the breath and put it in tanks and use it for wudu?
Allah.
Okay, so this form of those things that are not expected to happen soon, and we're just making up questions, right?
Unlogical to ask.
Or unlogical to ask, right? So those questions are forbidden. Don't ask about that, okay? Because there are many reasons. If we give an answer for this now, most probably it will be wrong.
Would you also say a question that's hypothetical?
Or a hypothetical question, okay? But sometimes it's hypothetical but expected to happen soon, okay? But sometimes we say this kind of questions would, just loss of time, and it will, you're not going to do anything with it. There is no fruit for it, no result for it, and it would prevent you from actually giving the care that you should give to the orders and the actual rulings that you need to follow. Okay, and it's not. It will reduce your seriousness in asking and learning. Okay. They will go through. So asking questions is only praised when it's intended to know what to do and what are the rulings regarding the matters under question. Okay, something that's happening and you need to know. Something that you actually need to know, either for yourself or to teach other. And like when we say, if someone's going to make dawah, calling for Islam or preaching Islam, and then he starts asking questions. What if I get asked this question? What if I get asked this question? What can we answer people who say so and so? Those are praise questions. Even if you don't need them for yourself, but you're going to use them. You're going to teach this to other people, right? So, if you're asking just to argue and quarrel about stuff, no, this is also forbidden.
You said, asking those kind of questions are praiseworthy?
Yeah, the things that you need to do or do not need, that will help you in delivering
Da'wah.
Islam, giving da'wah or teaching people, or even, I'll tell you what, like fiqh, for example. We need to have people who learn fiqh and give fatwa, right? So the person learning fiqh might pass about questions and things that might not happen to him ever at all, but he might get asked about it. Okay, so this form of thing of questions or thing that he studies are actually praised because there is use
To
for
be
that.
ready for any situation.
Yeah, that expected and realistic situation, not situations that are not realistic.
I just want to confirm my understanding. So now what I understood is that like there is only two types of questions that is not allowed. Number one is the one for arguments only.
Okay.
Number two, the one and the number two is actually not applicable anymore because it was just at the days of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is like asking about details about how to do an act of worship, because the Prophet, peace be on him, will tell us the details what like
Yes.
as much as we need
Yeah.
to, right?
Sometimes it's not asking about details. Like for example, when someone goes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asks him about something in his salah or in his hajj or whatever, there's a thing, and asking just to quarrel and argue and trying to avoid the order, like the story of Al-Baqarah, right? Musa alayhi salam told them, "Inna Allah amurukum an tadhbahu baqara." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered you to slaughter a cow. Any cow. Any cow. Red, white, black, brown, big, small, male, female, any cow would suffice. Right? And they start doing what? What is a cow?
Asking for specifics.
Yeah, going to say, what do you mean what is a cow? A cow. And then, no, it's a cow, not young, not old, and then tell it, okay, you need to slaughter a yellow cow that is not young, is not old, is not used for farming, and yellow without any spot.
Yeah.
Try to find it. Okay? So this form or way of questions, no, it was not, it's not, it was just they were giving Musa alayhi salam hard time. They didn't want to follow this order. Right? So they're trying to avoid it somehow by putting problems,
So this is not applicable anymore, right? Because like there's no prophets anymore.
Yeah, but sometimes I'll give you an example. Unfortunately, our brother is not here. Every week for some weeks he would ask me, what to do with this COVID? Is it allowed to pray while giving this 2 meters apart? And then, what did that tell him at the end? If you don't like it, pray at home, right? Then it ended to what? Okay, don't come to the masjid. If you're not comfortable, don't come. Okay. So sometimes, yeah. So this is form of this question. I wish my brother was here. I wish he heard this. Yeah. So he's asking and asking. If your salah is not invalid and we're actually وَمَا أَمَرْتُكُمْ فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, this is what we can do now, let it be. Don't continue asking. What do you want to ask? Do you want to tell me? What do you want me to tell you? No, that this, for example, this madhab tells you that if you're praying behind the line alone, then your salah is invalid, and repeat the prayers for 3 months. Do you want this is what you want to reach to? Right? It's happened and it was out of our hands. So it's not something that we chose. We're not doing this out of our own choice. It was a situation that we were put into. Okay? Don't keep asking and asking every time the same question. Right? It would, yeah. It might lead to a bad position for you. Okay? You ask first time, okay, do it, okay.
Or if for confusion question, then you tell, go and ask the
So, bismillah. So it said that the thing that would cause, hardship on you. the thing that would cause, that might lead to sadness, quarreling and just arguing. When the hypocrites were trying to give hard time to the Prophet ﷺ or mock him, when the people of the book or the mushrikeen tried to even give hard time to the Prophet or suggest some miracles for him, those are all from the bad questions. Similarly, in the hadith itself, the narration we mentioned about, we didn't mention this narration. So this hadith happened when Rasulullah ﷺ was telling, was just giving a speech. إن الله فرض عليكم الحج فحجوا. Allah made Hajj to be mandatory, so perform Hajj. Okay? Then a man came, stood. Is it for every year? Is it for every year? Is it for every 3 times? أفي كل عام يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So the Prophet ﷺ didn't answer him the first time. The second time, the third time he told him, if I say yes, it will be mandatory every year. And if it's mandatory every year, you cannot do it. Leave me as long as I leave you. I didn't tell you. I told you perform Hajj. You did it once, you did what I told you, right? More questions. If I say yes, it will be mandatory. It will be hard. Just imagine that you have to go to Hajj every year. You have enough money. Every single year. If you have enough money, go there every year. How can you do it? Right?
Even the Tarawih, the Prophet prayed the last year, the second day, he's talking that night. Because he didn't want to ask.
Okay. Yeah, Allah Bafi Saf. Tarawih, he didn't want to continue praying it because he didn't want for it to become mandatory. So what we're saying, that asking about things that didn't happen or is not expected to happen soon enough might lead to wrong answers. Example, at some point of history, some of the people who were, studying fiqh and so on said, what if we have something that's not on the ground and not in the sky and someone prays on it? And say, no, to pray you need to be on the ground, right? To pray you need to be standing on the ground. And this is the wrong answer. Why? Now, what do you do on the plane? Is the plane on the ground? No. Is it in the sky? No. It's in between. Right? Do you pray on the plane? Do they pray on the plane? If you need, you pray on the plane, right? Why? When it actually happened, we knew how to deal with it. But when we were just making up a question 600, 700, 800 years ago, it was not even something that we could imagine how it would happen, right? So it led to wrong answers.
Was this question asked to Prophet ﷺ?
No, I said no. It was somewhere in between, maybe in the mid-history of Islam, not early. Okay, so
It was asked to some.
yeah, some of the ulama or something like that, and maybe it was some person who wanted just to, what if those people? What if I told you? What if we did that? And just start, creating questions, making up things that not probable even, right? So Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu said, "O people, don't be in a hurry to face the affliction before it happens. لا تتعجلوا البلاء قبل حدوثه." Then you would get lost or taken to the right and left. If you don't be in a hurry, if you're not in a hurry to face this affliction before it happens, then when it happens, there will be among the Muslims who will be directed to the right answer, and if he gets asked, he will be guided to the right. He'll be directed to the right answer if he gets asked, and will be guided when he talks. Like as we said, when it actually happened, like with the thing with the plane, nobody argues that you can play on the plane, especially in a long flight, that the time of 2 or 3 or 4 salas will pass. So when Zayd ibn Thabit radiallahu anhu was asked about something, he would ask, did it happen? If the answer was no, he would say, then leave it until it does. Masruq said, I asked Ubay ibn Ka'b, Sayyid al-Qura, the leader of the people who recite Quran, about something, and he said, has it happened? I said no. Masruq told him no, it hadn't happened. So he replied, then give me rest until it occurs, until it happens. Then if it occurs, I will strive my best to give you my best answer. Al-Sha'bi said when Ammar was asked a question, and he asked, has it come to pass? Did it happen? They said no, it hadn't. He said, then leave it until it happens. When it happens, we will take this rough path for you. We'll try to strive it and find an answer for you. That's why Ibn Wahb said, I heard Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala say, arguing about knowledge hardens the heart and causes hatred. Now, just imagine like this thing that we said about Mars, okay? Now I'm going to give you, how I imagine it, and then it's not like that, and then we start arguing, and then we start fighting about something that didn't happen, right? Is that a question?
Yeah, like you kind of answered it by
Yeah.
saying that.
Okay.
I was just gonna ask you, like, when you say, how, like, because you mentioned, when you seek knowledge and it creates like a feud, I guess, like,
Yeah, because you're making up questions and making up things that are not realistic, and then trying to figure out an answer, and then we start arguing about it.
So ultimately, this hardens your heart.
Harden your heart, of course. And then also Al-Maimuni said, I heard Abu Abdullah is the Imam Ahmad rahmahullah ta'ala, being asked a question, and he replied, had this situation come, did this happen actually? Have you been tested with this? There's something new. Did it actually happen? Because if it didn't, he will not answer. Similarly, Imam Al-Awza'i rahmahullah ta'ala said, if Allah wanted to deprive one of his servants the blessing of ilm, of knowledge, he would throw on his tongue these confusing questions. I have seen them, this Imam Al-Awza'i said, I have seen them to be the people with the least amount of knowledge.
Those who ask confusing questions.
Yeah.
And who said this?
The Imam Al-Awza'i. So, people in general, and Muslims, with regard to questions or questioning, are divided to three categories. First of them, some of those who study the hadith and the narrations and stuff, and said, okay, we're not going to ask anything, and we're not going to question anything. Okay? So their knowledge of the limits of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revelated to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam became very little, and they were deprived of understanding a lot of the meanings of even the thing that they narrated. This is the first category of people. Okay, this is the right, far right. I'm not talking about politics, I'm just this end and that end. On the other hand, those who were obsessed with opinions, just they got busy trying to figure out answers and arguing about things that normally doesn't happen. And they got busy trying to figure out the answer. Like, just imagine, someone would just try to find an answer. What would happen if they take a sperm from someone and then put it beside his stomach so he's pregnant with his own sperm?
Allah.
Okay? People reach to this. Some people actually committed this problem. This, I don't know what to say. Our Shaykh Hafidhahullah Ta'ala mentioned some examples, and some example you feel that if someone is high would not ask this question. Someone high as a kite would not ask these questions. Right? And things horrible. What if he made intercourse with himself? What do you do to him? Things like that. Those are real examples said. I'm not making this up. Yeah.
Allah.
Okay. So those who got busy trying to figure out answers, arguing and quarreling about these matters, till their hearts became different. They got this hard hearts, and hearts became different, and they became more concerned about who's being right and who's being celebrated and so on, and then lost this knowledge. Then comes the right approach. The approach of the scholars who we name fuqaha أهل الحديث فقهاء أهل الحديث العاملون به, the people who get this fiqh in hadith and act upon that. Those whose main concern was to search for the meaning of Quran and one explains it from the Sunnah and from the saying of the companions and the saying of their followers, and then searching for the Sunnah and what is authentic and what is not, and what is the meanings of the Sunnah and what is the extracted meanings from it, and then understanding what it guides to, and then searching and learning about the sayings and traditions of the companions and their followers in the matters of tafsir, hadith, fiqh, belief, heart softeners, etc., etc. This is the approach of who? Of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, and similar, and the lordly scholars, al-ulama al-rabbaniyun, similar to him. And this, if you do this, there is no place to try to figure out those confusing questions or even discuss them. You don't have the time for that. You're already busy with what you're learning and what you're, acting upon. So, Imam Ibn Rajab, and then this is the thing, Imam Ibn Rajab rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned that whoever followed this third approach that we mentioned about طريقة علماء أهل الحديث, فقهاء أهل الحديث, would be able to understand and know the answer of all the new questions. Why? Because he has the fundamentals. If you know the fundamentals, the fundamental sources of knowledge, which is Quran and Sunnah and sayings of the companions and their followers, and the fundamental teaching in all of those. Now you have the fundamentals. You can, you can build upon those easily. So most of the new things, you'll know the answer for them. However, Imam Ibn Rajab rahmatullah, when I said Imam Ahmad rahmatullah ta'ala, I don't mean him exclusively. I'll just give an example. So Imam Ibn Rajab also rahmatullah ta'ala mentioned that taking this approach in learning must be by following those righteous Imams that Muslims agree on their guidance and knowledge, like Imam al-Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, Imam Ishaq, Imam Malik, and similar. Why? Because he mentioned this. If person claims or wants to follow this path out of his head just by his whatever he understands, he will get lost and stranded and fall in a lot of mistakes. He will even follow what shouldn't be followed and avoid what must be followed. Because this.
What kind of people were you describing?
If you want to take this right path, you need to take it by following those imams, those righteous imams that we know. Why? Yeah, because they'll guide you to the right place. Because there are sometimes you might see a hadith and you might think it means so and so, but it totally doesn't mean that at all. At all. Let me give you an example. The Prophet ﷺ prohibited someone to water his brother plant with his own water. Okay? Do not water your brother plant or your brother's seed with your own water. Yeah. You know what does this mean? You cannot have an intercourse with a pregnant woman who got pregnant from someone other you. Like when in some of the battles they got slaves. So Rasulullah told them, yes, you got this slave woman, yes, she's yours. You cannot have intercourse with a pregnant woman unless she give birth and she's clean. There is a kid and still a kid, you are not allowed to put your water in. Okay? And he told them, and if there is, and those who are not pregnant, wait till they get their period to make sure that they're, clean. So see what this hadith mentions and what does it mean?
It's completely different.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to ask you if you can say it one more time.
So the hadith prohibited someone to water his brother plant or his brother's seed with his own water.
Can't water.
Yeah, don't irrigate your brother's plant or brother's seed with your own water.
Okay.
And this is if a woman is pregnant, so she's actually carrying a seed from someone else, right? Even if this woman becomes yours. Of course, if she's a free woman and you cannot even marry her if she's pregnant.
At least the idea is that a pregnant woman cannot get a divorce until she
No, she gets a divorce, but she's not.
allowed.
You know, al-idda, the waiting period. If she gets divorced, so this is the thing. This is what gets tricky with a woman. If a woman gets divorced on the 2nd month of pregnancy, she needs to wait all the way till she delivers the baby. If she gets divorced today and delivers the baby tomorrow, she's free. She's out of this contract. There is no way back.
She doesn't
She's not
wait.
pregnant. She needs to wait.
If she's not pregnant, yes, she's going to need to wait 3 periods. Okay?
So this is Idda you're speaking.
Yeah, al-idda.
Idda it consists of going through 3 periods.
Idda for a woman that is not pregnant is 3 periods.
Okay. So
Okay.
she has to pass through
So
it
has she
before
a
she can be.
Yeah. And there's like a grace period, because during the 3 month,
She flushes out like.
yeah, she loses her womb. This is the thing, and then there's still a chance if you want to get back together.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But after that, now she's totally
fully gone.
totally unrelated to you. If you want to marry her, that's a new contract, something totally new.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that. So.
Okay. So trying to learn this ilm without following the steps of those imam, you need to know where you're putting your leg, okay? You're not following them blindly, but actually you're just following, they're showing you the path, they're telling you the meanings, okay? They're telling you how to understand this. Then if you get, the enough knowledge, you get this enough studying, now you can start, depending more on yourself and understanding, but still you're just following the steps, because this al-ilm, this knowledge is deen, this is religion, okay? And this religion is passed from generation to generation, okay? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so the last thing that I want to say that a lot of those confusing questions happen when people don't follow Allah's orders, subhanahu wa ta'ala, or His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam orders, or they don't follow the clear ruling, and then things start happening. Like, if I don't want to mention a lot of, because it's not, I hate those kind of things.
You said when people don't follow the clear ruling, that's when they start, in a sense, misguided? Or?
Yeah, like, let me give you an example. Some lady donates milk regularly to a milk bank, okay? And then her son wants to marry a girl that that her mom used to get her milk from that bank. Who told you to donate your milk? There are some rulings depending on this milk, where it goes. If someone drinks, or a baby drinks 5 times from a woman,
That means it's like.
now his mom. So now you're spreading your kids in the country and we don't know who is who, right? Things like that.
So like if that son wanted to marry this girl,
He doesn't know.
It wouldn't be permissible.
We don't know. How do you know?
Allah A'lam.
How do you know? And now you're putting us in confusion. We don't know.
But just like, let's say, even if it was the case that it was certainty that this.
If it was certain, no.
It's impermissible.
Yeah, if it's certain, it's not permissible. But I'm saying what happened. Similarly, let me give another example. If someone, let's say, just give it, don't tell me if this is permissible or not permissible. Someone wanted a kid, and then they got a sperm from a donor and an egg from a donor, and put him, or his own sperm and an egg from a donor, and put it in his wife's womb. Now, who's the mother for this kid?
That's.
Is it the donor or the one who actually carried him?
Yeah. Could be the donor, right? Allah
Well, what? This is a problem. It's problematic.
genetically.
It is problematic because you see what he said. Genetically, he was created from what? From this egg. But who actually carried him?
That has an effect on the baby's overall, like, also.
Yeah.
But I hate this.
I'm not talking about the ruling. I'm not talking about the ruling about this.
Yeah,
but
he said the egg woman belongs to that kid. She's the
yeah,
mom.
what I'm saying is that those are confusing matters that happen. Why? Because you're not following the right path. Okay. I think
No, if this woman can give a bath, you don't need to get.
I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. I
You
don't
the
know.
answer? Okay, let me tell you.
Okay.
Like, if this woman.
We're gonna go off topic. Well,
Yeah, we're going off talking. I'm just giving an example. Okay, I'm just giving an example. Okay. So
Let's wait until the end of the
Yeah.
session.
we're nearly done. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. What else? So yeah, so things that happen like new transactions. What if we pull money from here and put it there, and then this one, and then when this one takes, this this additional money, and then transfer it from this place, and then we buy this, and then we said, with something that's totally confusing. Sometimes, and why do you want to do this? Because I want to buy something. I don't have the money now. So there is a solution for this. There's another solution, easy solution. Ask and you know it. Okay.
But okay, let's say. This,
So
you have-
what I'm saying now, this is, I don't want to have answers. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you that when you don't follow the right path and don't follow the rulings, new situations happen.
Let's say this, like for example, you have $99 halal, and then you get a dollar haram.
This is another
You
thing.
say, oh, I don't know.
Another thing. Another thing. What else? I think that's enough. There are a lot of examples, but actually I hate them. I not like even saying about them. Yeah, as you can see. So, but the important thing that the more people don't abide to the teachings of Islam, the more new questions and new problems happen, which gets confusing. And then there's and then when it gets confusing, sometimes don't give me an non-Islamic problem and tell me solve it by Islam. This actually happened. This didn't happen for me. You got out of the system and created a problem, and now we want this system that is not compatible with this problem to solve it. This is what I wanted to say.
I have an example.